Hi, welcome to Positive Preschool Tips. I'm Cindy. Today I'm going to share with you 5 strategies to use when you have an upset child and you want to get them to do what you want them to do. I'm a preschool teacher and I've been teaching for years. These are the 5 strategies that are my go-to when I have a student that's either upset or I'm really trying to get a student to do what I want them to do without being fussy. I use these strategies in the classroom, but they're strategies that you could use in a classroom or even at home with your little ones at home. So in my examples, I'm going to try and give examples of using the strategies both in a classroom and in a home setting. So let's get started. My number 5, I'm going to do a countdown. So number 5 strategy is what I call I mean business teacher voice, or I mean business parent voice. Now generally my teaching strategy is very light and very happy and a little silly and very sweet. So when I switch to a I mean business voice, the children know, oh, this is serious. Now, when I say use your I mean business voice, it does not mean yelling or raising your voice in any way. In fact, it's the exact opposite. If you are yelling and raising your voice with a little child, you have already lost the battle. An I mean business voice is slower in speech and lower in tone. So if you're yelling, it's high and you're frantic and your voice might be a little quick, we're doing the exact opposite. So an I mean business teacher voice, get the child's attention, get eye to eye with them, and you're going to slow down your speech and you're going to give them what you want them to do in very few words in a lower tone voice. So for example, if you're at home and a parent and it is time for dinner and the little one just won't get to the table, then you get their attention, you get eye to eye at their eye level, and you say, it is time for dinner. Sit at the table. So it's very pronounced, very short words, and very to the point. In the classroom, it might be if you are having a child run around the room while everybody else is lining up to go outside, you would then get their attention, get eye to eye, make your voice lower and talk slower, exactly what you want them to do. You would say, we are going outside. It is time to line up. And then they know, oh, golly, she means business. I better line up. I don't use that voice a lot. It is the last strategy maybe that I will use. I generally use it when I think the child is either in danger or a situation is the fire alarm has gone off. We need to get you in line. There's no fooling around. I mean business. Get in line. And so if you use that all day long, if you're using on a regular basis this sort of I mean business voice that's maybe different, if my voice tends to be very cheery and very light and very up, and I switch to that I mean business voice too often, then it loses its impact. So you want to really save it when you think that this is it. There are no other options for you. You are going to need to do what I need you to do, and I am not joking about it. So that's my number 5 strategy that I use with students in a classroom. Number 4, redirection. If you're not familiar with the term and you're a preschool teacher, I guarantee you have used it, you just didn't know that's what it was called. Redirection is when you are going to take a child's attention away from the thing that is upsetting them or making them fussy and moving their attention to something else that's going to be way more appropriate and get them settled in a different direction. So an example would be, if you have a little one that's really just fussing because they didn't get the truck they wanted to play with in the block corner, instead of giving them a lot of conversation and direction and dialogue about why they can't have that truck and maybe they'll get that truck later, you are just going to move their attention to something else. So it might look like this. Oh, I bet you could make a really big tower with all these blocks over here. So you're not talking about the truck. You're not discussing the truck with him. You're just giving him another activity to do that's going to be appropriate. It's going to move him away from that upset and going to make him more productive. So that's an example of redirection in the classroom. An example of redirection at home may be if you have a little one that has decided they want to watch a video and it's the end of the day and there's no time for a video and they've had a video and it's just not an option. Instead of having a lot of discussion about why they can have a video, instead you offer them something that they can do that would be more appropriate. For example, would you like to go bake some cookies with me in the kitchen? So you are moving their attention away from this thing that is not an option for them and giving them a really good option. Just redirecting their attention. Works like a charm. Number 3, active ignoring. Now, active ignoring is a great strategy to use when a child is in a full-blown temper tantrum. So a child will throw a temper tantrum because they want their own way. And they feel that if they cry and kick, they'll get mommy and or teacher's attention, and that will make them give that child what they want. So active ignoring, you are not paying attention to that temper tantrum, and you are not going to call their name. You are not going to give them eye contact. You are not going to talk to them or direct them about their behavior, like you need to stop crying. You need to stop kicking your feet. You are completely ignoring it. Now, couple of tricky things to keep in mind if you're going to use active ignoring. One, you have to be sure when you are going to use this strategy that the child is not in a situation where they're going to hurt themselves, another child or person, or any kind of property. So as long as they're just lying on the floor crying and carrying on and you know they're safe, then you can absolutely actively ignore that temper tantrum. When they don't get your attention and that doesn't work for them, then they no longer use that to get what they want. But the tricky part of active ignoring is, if it has worked for them in the past and you are now suddenly going to ignore this behavior, the children are going to up the ante. So if normally screaming and kicking on the floor gets them attention and maybe gets them what they want, and you are suddenly no longer ignoring it and it's not working for them, they're going to amp it up. They're going to cry a little louder. They're going to kick a little harder because they're expecting that to work for them. You have to stand your ground. If you give in at any point and negotiate with them, you have lost the battle, because the next time they realize, well, I don't have to just scream and kick. I need to scream really loudly and kick really hard, because that's when they gave in last time. So it's tricky, but it's effective. And it is really good, again, for temper tantrums. So if I have a child just kicking up a fuss about anything, I will just turn away. I will act like I don't hear them, I don't see them. I may pick up a book from the block corner and talk to myself about the book and how fabulous this book is. Like, oh, this is the funniest book I've ever seen. I can't believe this is happening in the book. Now, suddenly your attention is not on the temper tantrum, your attention is on this book. And if you play it up like it's the most exciting thing ever, the little one is not getting your attention for the temper tantrum, but may be interested in what's going on in that book to come over and look. And as soon as they stop with the temper tantrum and come over to you to engage in something appropriate, like the book, sometimes I pull up my iPad, that always gets their attention, like, oh, this is the funnest thing on an iPad I have ever seen. When they come over, I say, would you like to see it? Of course, they'll be like, yes, I do. Okay. Then what you need to do is sit here quietly and I'll show you. So you're taking them out of the temper tantrum and you are giving them something appropriate and giving them attention when they're doing something appropriate and not when they're having a temper tantrum. It's tricky. It's hard because sometimes the temper tantrum gets worse before it gets better, so you have to really stand your ground, but it is very effective. So that's my number 3 strategy. Strategy 2, first then. Very simply, first you do what I want you to do, then you get to do what you want to do. So before a child gets to have time on the iPad, before they get a chance to watch their favorite cartoon, before they get a chance to go into their favorite center, they have to do what you want them to do. So first you clean up the blocks, then you can go to art. First you brush your teeth, then you can watch that video. First you do what I want you to do, then you get what you want to do. It's really simple, but it's very effective and it doesn't take a lot. You're just at this point, you are negotiating. And the negotiation is, you do what I want you to do, you get what you want to do. Back and forth. So that's first then. Very simple, but definitely one of my favorites. And that takes us to my all-time favorite strategy to use with a child, either in a classroom or at home, to get them to do what you want them to do, especially if they're fussing and not wanting to do what it is they're supposed to do. And that is giving them choices. Now, the way I do choices and the way I think is most effective is when you are offering a child choices, you need to give them 2 appropriate choices. What you are doing is offering them the ability to have some sort of control over their situation, have control over their life, and if they're upset and if you're in a bit of a battle, that gives them the feeling that they have control and can make a choice and then be a little bit more of an active partner with you when you're trying to get the job done. So an example of that would be if you have a child that is not coming to your circle time, and all the children need to come to circle time to sit down and read a story, and they're not coming. They've decided that something in the other side of the room is more interested, or they're just having a moment and they're not coming to circle time. 2 appropriate choices will be, your choices are you can sit on the carpet or you can sit in a chair. What would you like to do? Both of those are appropriate. You really are saying, I'm going to work with you a little bit. I'm going to let you do one of 2 things, but you have to pick one of those 2 things. So at home, it could be something like, well, you have 2 choices. You can brush your teeth first, or you can put your pajamas on first. What would you like to do? And that would be a scenario where a child is not ready to go to bed. You're giving them 2 good choices. Very different than saying, you do what I want you to do, or you go to timeout. So your choices are to brush your teeth or go to timeout. Those aren't 2 good choices. That is, do what I want you to do or else. So the tricky thing about choices is that sometimes a student or a child will say, well, I don't want to do either of those things. Nope, don't want to sit on the chair, don't want to sit in the carpet. Still good. And then what I do If that happens, is I say to the child, well, if you don't choose, I'm going to choose. And that way, the child realizes you are taking those choices away. You're going to be the one making the choices. And what I do, if I think I know the one that they don't want, their second choice. So let's say, in the example that I gave, sitting at circle time, your choices are to sit in the circle on the carpet or sit in a chair. What would you like to do? And if they say, I don't want to do either, and what I think they want to do is probably sit on the carpet, I will say to them, well, if you don't make a choice, I am going to make the choice. And the choice that I'm going to pick is sitting in the chair. So, do you want to sit in the carpet or sit on the chair? What is your choice? Very often, more often than not, believe it or not, they will then go, oh, wait a minute, no, sitting in a chair was not my choice. I want to sit on the carpet. And they will then pick the carpet. And at that point I say, great, go sit on the carpet. An example of using choices with a child at home may be if you're getting a child dressed in the morning and they are not wanting to get dressed. Then you could use the strategy of choices. You could tell the little one, you have two choices. You could wear a dress today or you could wear pants. Which would you like to choose? And again, if they don't make a choice, then you can let them know you're going to make the choice and pick the one you think they don't want. 9 times out of 10, they will then change their mind and make a choice. So that's what I have today. Those are some of my favorite strategies to use in a classroom. I've had really good luck and success with them, and so I hope you do too. If you try one and you have any kind of feedback, please add a comment down below. We would love to have you join the Positive Preschool Tips community by subscribing. I would appreciate if you liked the video, to like it and to hit the bell where you'll get notifications if there's any other videos that are uploaded. I thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and have a great preschool day. Bye now.